Hello and welcome to the only Star Wars podcast that inevitably winds up a discussion of monologues, epilogues, and flight logs. I'm Luke.
I'm Max.
And I'm Matt.
And this is Force for Thought.
That's also a great start. That's a good one.
Thank you. There's a unique satisfaction when I really get one or both of you, because I think all my jokes are hilarious, and I feel like it's rarely reciprocated.
Disagree. That was great. That one was great.
I appreciated it.
Hello and welcome. We're here today discussing The Mandalorian, Season 1, Episode 4, the halfway mark in Season 1, and I'm all on board with this season. I'm so bummed that I have not rewatched this show more so than this rewatch series that we're doing, because again, this week, great episode. I loved it. Max, what'd you think?
It was fine. Here's the thing. I give it a 6 out of 10. It was a fun watch. I did enjoy watching it. That said, most of my thoughts are me just kind of poking fun at a lot of things here and there. So it sounds like I'm going to be like ripping it apart when it's not the case. I really did enjoy it and I had fun watching it. I think this might have been the first time rewatching this one since it came out too. So I'm glad that I did.
Matt?
I feel like you can tell Max and I's energy has shifted. We're very buttoned up and tightened up. Max is wearing a hat during a cozy episode. I'm wearing a white t-shirt underneath my robe. Things are different. I feel like you can tell. Luke, you seem the same. But yeah,
no, I just showered actually. So complete opposite.
I'm in the kind of the camp, same camp as Max. I think this is my. When I say least favorite episode, that is not necessarily a dig to this episode. Like, 'cause that seems really intense, right? There's only 4 of these so far that we've watched. This is my least favorite just because I feel like the action is great, but those in between moments didn't really do it for me. I like the introduction of Cara Dune. I thought it was okay. I don't mind a lot of the criticisms, like how are they taking down the ATST and stuff like that. That doesn't bother me. We've seen Ewoks do it. But yeah, ultimately this episode to me is fine. I do like that a lot of it takes place at night though, towards the end, which is fun to see, and they have some good comedic relief as well.
I'm interested to hear more of your thoughts because I feel like I think it's fine for opposite reasons because I really like the action. I thought the action was very entertaining. It was kind of like everything in the middle that I was just like, that seems a little silly. But like the introduction of Cara Dune. But we'll get there. But I feel like what you were saying, I was like, I kind of disagree in the specifics, but not in the big picture.
I think I don't know if I said it wrong or you misinterpreted. The action I liked. I didn't like the things I did not like the things in between.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you said the opposite.
Yeah, I love that boring stuff with these characters that we don't get to see ever again. I loved it.
I was pretty surprised. I was like, okay.
I did like that stuff.
With that being said, I do understand why people could like it. Luke, like you, a lot of these characters, I think rewatching this, what I've realized is a reflection of what Mandalorian, what Din Djarin wants out of life, right? I think these are characters that are manifestations of that, and so I think that is a big pool of that representation of what he wants and what he needs, which is that community, which we know at the end of season 3 he circles back to, and he kind of gets that life as well. So anyway, go on.
Ever since we started going remote a year ago, every now and again, I've noticed it's just like from us recording, because once the video is out, our own recordings compile our audio quite well, but every now and again I miss bits and pieces of what you guys say while we discussed. And Matt, I picked up from context that you were talking about the Ewoks, but I had only heard walks, and the idea of calling them walks as like a racial slur is hilarious to me now.
Wait till next week's intro joke.
Regardless, let's get into the episode. We start with yet another lengthy recap of the previous 3 episodes. And much like episode 2, we don't really need hardly any information going into this episode about the last 3 episodes. It's pretty self-contained. They could wrap it up in like 10 to 15 seconds, and instead it's more in the 60-second range, which, we're talking about the episode, so let's talk about the episode. I know it's a nitpick, but it just that jumps out at me every week now.
Yeah, the recap is like an early 2000s style recap where it's like if you missed last week's episode and you're just now tuning in, but like this is a streaming show. Like I feel like you don't need to recap it based on a presumption that someone might be jumping into the show for the very first time at episode 4. Like you can give a little bit of benefit of the doubt there.
It's not on live TV. Like, you're not going to stumble across this. You need to actively hit multiple buttons to get there.
Right. Then we get the intro to the farming village. We see them fishing for the blue fish, which I love. Simple change to our world fish to make them look cooler. They got that neon tint to them. This whole village, I guess we'll just talk about the beginning, and that slaughter seems intense, but ambush from the Clatuinians. I like all that. I like the action, but you guys seem to be on board with the action. So unless you have anything specific to say, we can go right ahead to the Mandalorian parts because we're going to be talking about that village in a good amount of depth here in a couple minutes. Mando and Grogu arrive on the planets and go and get some soup. Loved that.
Yep, a lot of soup talk, I feel like.
They in that soup shop, they also served noodles that were not blue noodles like in Andor. Again, don't have to compare everything to Andor, but it's like in a better version of this show, maybe they were blue noodles.
That's funny. Yeah, I liked that scene. I was taken aback leading up to this scene though. When they were in the ship still and they were just kind of like checking out the planet, I guess like on their computer or whatever, and Din Djarin's was like giving the lowdown on it, and he was like, "Oh, this looks like a good planet for us. You know, there's no major enterprises, there's no major population centers. Sounds like a real scug hole." Now, I don't know exactly what scug hole means, but I kind of put it together by the context, and that just seems like a very short-sighted or small-minded take on this planet. I'm like, just because there's no big businesses or major population centers that you think this planet is a scug hole? Like, you just said how this is perfect for you. I was like, come on, man. That seems a little rude to the citizens of this planet.
That's like a punk walking into a house and be like, this is a shithole. I love it. It's just the worst apartment you've ever seen or something.
Like, he was just saying like things that were perfect for them. Yeah, sounds like a real shithole. I'm like, calm down.
He's looking for a shithole. I like it. No.
But he called it a scug hole, though, which I wanted to call that out, too, because I don't know if we ever included that one on our episode a while back when we did swear words in Star Wars. But there's one for you.
Absolutely did not, and that was a great one.
Was it swear words or was it just insults? And most of them happened to be swear words.
It was insults, but somehow it morphed into swear words.
Yeah,
because I wouldn't. Even if I was
a
thinking
wild
about this
episode.
It was. That was a fun one. What did you guys think of the introduction of Cara Dune? I haven't rewatched the show as much as I should have, and it was my understanding that she gets introduced in a bare knuckle brawl with some other guy that she's tied at the waist to with like an electro cord. That must be the next time we see her.
That.
But
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to seeing that scene again.
That is not how this happens.
No, she's just kind of
I feel
chilling
like
there.
That would make a better character introduction because I did not like the introduction of Cara Dune because she's just sitting there minding her own planet, and then the Mandalorian. Sorry, I called him Din Djarin earlier. As of right now, he's still just the Mandalorian. Sat down at a table across the restaurant from her and just started talking up to the waiter, saying like, "Hey, what's her deal over there?" And it's like, I don't know. She's minding her own business. What's your deal? Like, she hasn't done anything to worry you or upset you, or I guess she just looks suspicious. I don't know. I didn't care for the profiling going on in this episode. There were weird undertones.
The undertone was literally that trope of like a Western movie where they're like, the town's not big enough for the both of us. Like, that's literally what they do in this whole episode.
Yes, but it seems like it is big enough for the both of them.
Mm-hmm. It absolutely does.
I love, it was a small moment, but I laughed out loud when Mando is trying to solicit this information out of the server, and he throws like extra credits at her, and she was like, "Oh, thank you, I'll get you that bone broth right away, and I'll throw in some spatchka." And it's like, girl, you missed what we're doing here, but I guess thank you.
She did not pick up on that hint, but I did appreciate. I don't know why I also appreciated that beat a lot. I feel like it's because like you don't see that beat unless it's like, successful where they get more information or something. So the fact that they went out of their way to include that for no reason, I don't know. Yeah, I thought that was funny too. I liked that. And then I did like the part following too, if you still consider it the introduction of Cara Dune when they get into their hand-to-hand fist fight behind the restaurant or pub, cantina, whatever you want to call it.
Soup shop.
Soup shop. That was awesome. I love that. I was going to say something else about it too. We got to see a heads-up display of Mandalorian's helmet, which I forgot to call out in a previous episode too, because we've talked about that a long time ago, but now I'm jumping all over. But yeah, that fight I thought was really good, and that was a good introduction of Cara Dune, but it was just like, to me, it started weird with just him randomly calling her out in the restaurant, and then after the fight it just goes straight to an exposition dump, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I like the fight, but it just, when you're fist fighting a guy with metal armor and you don't have metal armor, it just really feels like you're at a disadvantage, and it can't seem like the show just ignored that. I always like that moment in Revenge of the Sith when Obi-Wan kicks Grievous and it hurts him way more than Grievous. And it's like, yeah, he's metal and you're a bone. So, of course it does.
And you're a bone.
But yeah, back to that server. It elicits the same feeling of when you're playing a tabletop role-playing game, which this show does very consistently. But it's like, okay, I'll roll to... whatever, bribe the shopkeep. And he says, okay. And you roll, and it's like, oh, fail. And it's like, yeah, you don't bribe her. She just takes your money and then walks away. And then you go and do something completely unrelated.
Extra spotchka.
Yes. But yeah, the fight was good. That shot of Grogu sipping the tea or whatever, eating the soup right next to them is...
iconic.
Yeah, perfect shot. We're led to believe that fight ends in a stalemate with them pulling the guns on each other, yet Cara Dune is aiming at a fully armored helmet, and Din Djarin is aiming at her bone skull. So again,
not
armor
only that,
OP.
but like, is it also a potential that blaster bolt would ricochet off his helmet back to her?
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Highly likely.
This might be a lose-lose situation.
He
He just really wanted some soup and no implication of blood on him.
The exposition though, that was good exposition. That was a natural way to learn about the character, and it wasn't over your head. It's like, given the era and how much we know about what happened after Jedi, like in this era, it was an appropriate amount. It still left a lot of mystery toward the Cara Dune character. We don't know exactly why she left the service, so to speak, although I don't think it's called that.
Early retirement is what she called it.
Yeah. I can't deny that it's exposition, but I thought that was exposition done well. We learned an appropriate amount about her character in an appropriate setting.
I don't think it was done well, but I agree that it was interesting exposition.
Then we have the scene where the farmers try to hire Mando to come and help them. And the farmers, again, it's like the guy's name escapes me, Bert from Modern Family, the pilot Bert from Big Bang Theory, the speeder pilot from episode 1. That is just someone that I recognize that takes me out of it. That's how I felt with this pilot, or with this farmer, and I'm wondering if you guys feel the same way.
Yes,
the guy
I definitely recognized him. He's another one of those guys who's in a bunch of stuff.
He's not in a bunch of stuff, because I looked it up, and I only recognize him from Loki and The Good Place.
Yeah,
but
The Good Place is definitely, right?
I recognize both those things. And in
like
both of those roles, he's an idiot, and it's like he's the joke of every scene. And so it's just hard to not think of him as the joke of every scene in this episode, even though he is like closest to the joke of every scene, but he's not like a cartoon character like he is in Loki or The Good Place. I'm underselling Loki.
Tacoma FD. I mean, I don't watch that show, but
I agree. Though he is one of those characters, those people that stand out. Really, he's like a sore thumb, right? Like, you know that's the guy, and then the other person isn't anybody that you recognize, so it's really easy to attract to him instantly. With that being said, these characters remind me a lot of the Andor season 2 episode 1, or the first arc rather, or those rebels or whatever that I don't care.
The
for,
Maya
but-
Pay Brigade.
Yes, thank you.
Those
And
are
for some-
soldiers, though. These are just farmers. That's not fair to these guys.
They
They're
remind
dumb,
me-
but they're not
they
supposed to
remind
be
me-
any less dumb.
They remind me of them, but I like them. I like these characters better. I also like what I was saying earlier, though. This scene specifically stood out to me just because I like seeing the Razor Crest at night. Him working on it, it feels eerie in a weird way. I like the ship lights and stuff too. I like that feeling, and I like the fact that this is who cares? I'm just gonna say it because I have no idea if it's true or not, but I'm gonna say it's true. The first time we've seen in this short of time, it's only 10 minutes in, and we've gone from day to night to day back to night, which is nice. And we've gotten some space as well. So we're getting a lot of variety within the first 10 minutes, which is very nice. And for me, that's where this episode shines, is showing what Mandalorian can look like across all episodes or all different variations of things. I mean, you get the first time, I think, in the show, since it started, only 4 episodes in, but you leave behind this desert looking planet that's very brown and tan and dark and gray for like these like lush green scapes, which is very fun, I think, to be like, yeah, in this show we are going to go on multiple journeys across like every galaxy and every planet, which is cool to see. And it feels like you start off with a typical Star Wars looking show and you end up somewhere interesting.
Yes. Well said, Matt. Sorry, I was looking at something else, but I agree with the day to night and back to day and stuff, and that happens several more times throughout this episode because the fight is at night again, and we see the next day, and that's also good for, like we were talking about in episode 2, the ambiguous amount of time that takes place building the ship. It's like it could be a lot of time and it could be not a lot of time, but it doesn't really matter. But it's nice to see that Mando and Grogu did spend a good amount of time there because it does seem to be an important part in their both of their character arcs on where they're going, where they want to be, and where they have to go. So
Did
yeah,
the montage in episode 2 when they were building the ship after the Jawas had taken it apart include shots of day and night? Like, did it go back and forth to show that it was taking multiple days?
he takes off during the day and they start at night, but no, I don't think so. I'm pulling it up right
Maybe
now.
That's why that compilation always felt so jarring to me. Maybe if they had done that and drew more attention to the day and night, then it would have been a little more consistent for me. I don't know. That's interesting. I didn't really think about it, but I don't disagree with you on that. I thought what was kind of silly was when these farmers were trying to hire him and they showed him the money and he was like, that's not enough. And they're like, you don't even know what the job is. And he's like, I know it's not enough. And then they mentioned like, oh, great. Now we got to go back to our farm in the middle of nowhere. And he was like, I'm in. And
Yeah.
it's like, what? And they're like, you said it's in the middle of nowhere. Do you have lodging? Yeah, sure. And it's like, but like you chose this planet because you said like there's no major population centers and the whole planet is the middle of nowhere. It's like you're not, like all you're doing is just leaving the safety of your ship, which is another, not a plot hole. I wouldn't go that far, but it's just like another like thing where it's like, I wouldn't do this if I were you. Like, I think it just makes more sense to stay where you're at.
But he does need the money, right? Like at some point. I think if it's an easy job, why not? He saw the money.
We don't
They
even
have
know how
it.
much he got though, because he gave it to Cara Dune to hire her.
Probably not all of
good
it. She's only doing half the job. Surely he kept half for himself, right?
I don't know how much money it was, but he made it sound like it wasn't enough money just for him. So you think he took insufficient amount of money to cover his fees, divided it in half, and then convinced Cara to do it?
Maybe Mando is just a punk. That's the punk mentality, right? He's just like, hey, I'm gonna play a show. I'm in a ska band. There's 12 of us. We can pay $10. Anybody in? Everyone says yes. Like, well, that doesn't make any sense logistically, but I'm sure it'll be a
Bringing
blast.
back memories from my glory days. That's definitely what we did.
R/oddly specific.
How are we gonna split one cheeseburger? I don't know, but we'll do it.
That did not bother me at all, and after you bring it up, it continues to not bother me. Going to the middle of nowhere in the middle of nowhere is even better than just going to the middle of nowhere, because he can't like actually go to the middle of nowhere because there's no lodging or food or You know, he's not going to go camping indefinitely. And you can't just find the most remote settlement on this planet. And so I thought that was all very natural and appropriate. He then meets Widow Girl, who IMDb cast list calls her Omera, which I don't really remember that in the episode. But that's okay, because even if it's not, just in the credits or whatever, it's nice when characters have names. Not to rehash our discussion on the clients.
Yes.
Just give people names. So he and Omera have that nice moment where Grogu goes out to play, and you see just how protective he is of Grogu, because I forget how well established their relationship is, because that's obviously the heart of this season, at least the first 2 seasons also. And just 1 episode ago, he was selling Grogu as a bounty, and now you are very quickly established on how much he cares for Grogu, and the way other people, like later Cara Dune just calls him your kid, which feels a little fast and not socially progressive, but like, you know, he's obviously not his kid, but it's just a kid following him. I don't know. I like how well established their relationship is.
Explain that to everyone else in that town, you think?
He didn't. He just showed up and they were together.
I know, but off screen, surely somebody said like, so who is this? Like, do you guys know each other? And do you think he just went straight to like, he's my child? Or do you think he tried explaining the whole background of like, well, I was a bounty hunter, but then I kind of had a change of heart?
I was just praising it for moving quickly along the relationship between Mando and Grogu and that father-son thing. I do think it's a little early for Mando to call him my son right now, but that is going to be my headcanon going forward, that it was just like an intimidation check. Like someone asks you and he just looks at her and says, he's my son. And like internally, like, I dare you to push me on this.
Okay.
Quick real
I
life.
guess I don't know what he looks like underneath the helmet.
A quick real life story is that I had a friend who was dating somebody who already had a kid, and they were dating for like a year only. Happily married now, have a lot of kids. But the first one was not his biologically, but like within the first year, he would always like, "Oh yeah, me and my son did this." I was like, You're dating, and the kid's like 3, so I don't know about that. It worked out. Still weird. Still think about it a lot. That's how I felt about this. Within days, no way. That's all.
That is very similar. That I'll take that back. That is literally the exact same scenario. We then see Mando take his helmet off for the first time, which kind of a jaw-dropping moment. It was like, it's only episode 4, but it's so well established that he never does it, and they don't show you his face, and he's alone when he does it, but it's a butt clench moment. It's like, oh my god.
It reminded me just like when oh my gosh, what's his name? When Master Chief takes his helmet off in Halo 2. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, and then
Halo
you're just like,
1.
oh yeah, Halo 1 at the very end, and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. We're not going to see it. I can't wait till 2. And then he doesn't.
One
and then
day.
You're like,
one day we'll see it.
And then exactly. And then they made the TV show. I'm like, oh, it's him? I don't like that.
It's just a guy.
It's just a guy. Yeah.
Did you guys ever hear the myth that if you complete the campaign on Legendary that you saw his face?
Oh yes.
Yes, I heard that myth, probably from the same asshole that told you, and then we tried for hours and hours and weeks to beat it on Legendary just for it to be the exact fucking same.
Not true. Definitely not true.
But
and I feel like this was also at the time of YouTube was like definitely doing real well for itself. Like you could have very easily just tried to look it up instead of having to do it yourself. But
was it? When did YouTube take off? The Halo 2 came out in 2004, and so this is before 2004 at the latest.
2005 is like YouTube started, I believe.
Oh, was it really?
Mm-hmm. Because I remember
that's how old you are, big dog.
When Weird Al's White and Nerdy
disgusting.
Came out, I was still using Albino Black Sheep. If anybody watched Albino Black Sheep, which was like a comedy website, you could go do that. And Jib Jab. Jib Jab, originally not a greeting card maker. It was a comedy site where they made like, do you ever see like the Ultimate Showdown? Like those types of videos? Or like the Star Wars rap from like 2002 or whatever?
Yes.
Like those are like those classic videos that was like pre-YouTube. I felt the same way about Nazi zombies, right? The first Nazi zombies. It's like, oh, if you beat the campaign in one go through, you get to unlock this secret game. And no one knew if it was true or not. So we spent all night just waiting. And then it was 4 a.m. We finally got Nazi zombies, and we're like, holy shit, what if you turn the system off, it goes away? And so then, but there's just no way to Google that, really. I mean, it's like somebody has like a family computer that like, you're like, you can't use it or something because it's like it's in another room. Like, that's an insane time.
You just left the Xbox running for weeks on end.
Basically what it was like. So we're like, and we waited till everyone got a turn, and then in the morning at like 11 a.m. we all went to bed and turned it off. Best night of my life.
I was about to say, that sounds like such a good time.
Yeah, it was great.
That reminds me of the meta of leaving your GameCube on to unlock Mewtwo. Do you know how to unlock Mewtwo in Super Smash Bros. Melee? The only way? It's such bullshit. You just have to play the game for 100 hours, and then Mewtwo appears. 100 hours is so much time. If any game is gonna get it, a good Super Smash Bros. Game can get that much playtime out pretty quick. But 100 hours? I thought, yeah, I was blown away when I learned that.
I had no idea Mewtwo was a playable character in Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Must have played it for an appropriate amount of time. He definitely was, but yeah, we didn't have him on our GameCube.
Speaking of an insane amount of game hours, my brothers were over today, and Mitch was talking about playing Skyrim, and he has 3 different versions of this. On one of the versions, to be fair, Skyrim has been out since 2011. 2011. It's been a very long time. He has over 1,000 hours. That's insane. On one version, he's got 3 versions, and that's not the only game he plays. Yikes. I was like, Mitch, Jesus.
Yeah, I would not like to see an accurate total of how much time I've spent playing Overwatch or Halo or Call of Duty. I bet, yeah, that would not be fun to see. Such an accurate stat of that. Anyway, Mando and Gina Cara Dune agree to help these villagers, and then immediately back out when they see the ATST, but then immediately come back in when they get the villagers' help on it. The way I phrased that makes it seem like I didn't like that plot point, but I did. It felt appropriate to not want to fight an ATST because...
No, it was a little back and forth.
It was a little back and forth. Can't deny that. And I guess
inexplicably so. Like all that happened was like Mandalorian was like very gruff about it. He was like, "You guys have to move. You can't stay here. We're not doing this." And then Cara Dune was like, "Oh, we know, good bedside manner." And he's like, "Well, can you do better?" She said, "I can't do worse." And then she started talking, and she said the exact same thing. And then he said, "Unless we teach them." And it's like, hold on, asshole. You're the one who just started this by saying that we had to move. Now you're the one who's taking their side inexplicably.
Not inexplicably. They could teach him. It worked out.
What's her name? It did work out.
And he's got a crush.
Horrible plan.
Omira is her name. Omera. Seems as good a time as any to talk about Cara Dune's costume design. Exceptional. For just getting me on board with a character, they did it right. Just the right amount of tattoos. That bandolier-looking thing around her arm, but it's just a tattoo. That looked awesome. The little Rebel logo teardrop tattoo, sick. And just her costume, like the almost Clone Wars-like armor around her chest, and the kind of I forget what they're called. The forearm gauntlets. The ones that Aragon wears Boromir's of. I don't know. I think gauntlets are just the name, but. I really like her costume.
I agree.
Do they explain that in the show that tattoo is like an Alderaan remembrance thing?
I don't think so.
I forget if they ever say that.
Definitely not in this episode.
That
or
does.
If I remember that from something else, like a reference book or something.
That feels like a reference book,
like
right?
sort of,
like just thinking about the dialogue in the show, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I can't see that coming up naturally.
That's
but
awesome.
That
though.
makes
I did not
total
know
sense
that.
it's an
Glad that we're
Alderaan
going
remembrance
through it.
thing, because it's definitely in a teardrop location, and yeah, that's
I'm
cool.
pretty sure she's from Alderaan. Doesn't she say that she's from Alderaan? Not in this episode, she didn't, but I think in another one she does.
Yeah, I think so. That sounds right.
I think that might be where it kind of comes up. I forget. I know that's a thing though. It might be from a reference book, but we'll see when we continue to make our way through it.
Mando and Cara Dune then prepare the villagers for battle, and then they go and draw out the Klatooinians. The fight scene with them, with the actual bad
Oh,
guys.
hold on. Let's back up and talk about them preparing these villagers.
Yes,
for
please.
battle.
I was also
I'm
going to
sorry.
bring this up.
Please.
Because first off, what is everything that they set up with Omari? It seems
Omera.
to be so. Omera is weird in hindsight because it's like she definitely is being like played up as somebody who's going to be important in the future, but then apparently isn't, because like they go out of their way to be like does anyone here have any experience shooting a blaster? And she's the only one who raises her hand. And then it even has that scene of them, having target practice, and she's shooting the pan consistently or whatever. But it's like, why? Like, what's her backstory? Like, how does she know how to do that? Like, this is random. Like, I feel like the only reason they included that little beat is to make Din Djarin be like a little like, oh, I like what I'm seeing type thing. But then again, it never comes back around to it. I feel like this was like a weird like plot thread that they had kind of seeded, thinking like maybe we can circle back around to this in a future season, if we don't have any other material, and then other better storylines came up, so they never did. But I just have a lot of questions around her character and that whole thing. And then the other thing I also wanted to point out too was when they were like teaching people how to fight with
The stack,
sticks.
yes.
Like, they were literally using the sticks, and they were like showing them how to stab and like thrust, and it's just so campy. Like that's such like a overdone like trope of like teaching the villagers how to fight. Like they're literally using sticks, but it's like they're going up against an ATST. Like you guys should not be using these weapons. And then like it even had the little beat of like one guy using the stick, and then somebody, I forget if it was Mandalorian or Cara Dune, had to like grab the stick and like flip it around the other way for him.
That
And
was
it's like,
the
you
biggest.
don't know which side's the pointy end. Like, that's what you don't know.
They
Like,
just
it's like
sharpened
that.
these sticks themselves.
I
And
know, and it's like this is such a, I don't know, it's such like a campy trope that I didn't like. I had to laugh at it out loud. I don't hate it. I'm not trying to shit on it. I'm just pointing it out that they did it and it was funny.
it's also, they cut that scene when she takes it away. She like grabs it real quick, and then they cut to later when she like turns it around. Like the editing is so. I feel like she really milked that scene. They were like, really like show them how to use this, and I feel like they were just like, okay, how do we salvage this in the edit now? Like this is too weird. And I also feel like this is one of those things where they clearly were like, okay, we have the set, and in the script, all it says in the script is training montage. Like I don't think that they were given, like I can't imagine, like I feel like
They just line up. Okay, everyone's seen Mulan? Go ahead and do it.
that's honestly what I feel like.
What it was.
Yeah, I feel like that's what the script said. So they're like, all right, let's roll with this. But yeah, Max, I was gonna bring up the same exact thing. It stuck out to me so much this time around. I was like, wow, okay, we're doing it.
That's what the script needed, though. That's the story. Like, yeah, it's not overwhelmingly unique, but the story is not a very unique story. That part didn't bother me, but I understand. As for Omera's affinity for battle, I liked that because it does show that her and Din Djarin would be a compatible couple in a situation that's very hard to convey that these two people would be compatible. That's like really the only route you can go at this point. And then later we get to see the emotional payoff, so to speak, with the Din Djarin could live here and raise Grogu, and Cara Dune even like literally says so much like, you can just take off your helmet and stay here with that hot widow and be happy. And it's like, yeah, that's and Din Djarin has to choose not to do that in order to reinforce what his character is, his devotion to the Mandalorian creed and to protecting Grogu. I really like all of that. And yes, I think that they did leave the door open to return to her, but what's the alternative? Have her die or tell him to never come back? Like, that's just the end of the story, and if it's not explicitly closed, then it's going to be left open, but that doesn't mean that they were twirling their mustache like, oh, that means that this character can come back at this time now. It's just the end of that episode.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I mean, to your, point, we are 3 seasons into the show now, and they haven't come back to her. So, I mean, they are done with her. They're not coming back to her at this point. So yeah, that makes sense. I see that. Like, they're just kind of showing, I guess, the tragic side of Din Djarin's decision to care for the child and what he is actually all leaving behind by doing so. Yeah, that makes it feel a little bit better.
Maybe the
Even though it's
Mandalorian
a tragic
and
plot point.
maybe the Mandalorian and Grogu movie will go full solo, and O'Mara will be Rada the Hutt's lieutenant, like Kira was in Crimson Dawn. That'd be a crazy callback. It could happen. It could happen. He calls her back into duty. That's how she became such a good shot. She was always working with Rada the Hutt.
Did you guys see that leaked trailer for Mandalorian and Grogu?
I saw that there was a leaked trailer. I didn't watch it.
It's so good. I'm excited for it. I don't know how they called it a trailer. It was mostly just like a 30-second action sequence and then a couple other shots.
Yeah, hype shots.
Because it was a leak. It was whatever jackass on YouTube was calling it that.
But it's like leak test footage. Like, I don't know if I would call that a trailer, but like it was also kind of edited like a trailer. I don't know. It's definitely not going to be that. It was not a trailer what we saw, but it was, I don't know. It looked amazing though. I'm very excited for it. If you didn't watch it, I'm trying not to spoil anything, but it was cool.
Thank you, because I didn't. But they're going to start advertising this movie pretty soon, right? It comes out in May. That's only 8 months.
Comes out in 2026.
Wow.
9 months
that
away.
Hurts my
That's
head.
coming right up.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that together. I assume, depending on what's going on.
Oh my God, that'll be the first movie. That'll be the first Star Wars movie since we started the pod. That's going to be such an event. Oh, we're going to wear suits. We're dressing up for it.
Yeah.
I'm down.
We're gonna drink a whole lot of splotchka in our suits and then hire an Uber Black to take us to the movie theater.
I feel like. Do you think that's just like gazpacho, just cold soup? Is that what that is? You think?
No, it's beer. It's alcohol, right?
Oh, I don't know. We
I
keep
thought it
saying
was
soup.
booze.
Because they were saying soup and splotchka, I got the impression that they were different things.
Can you imagine having
I guess
booze
it
and
could be a
soup?
type of
What a
soup.
terrible restaurant idea.
What a wild meal.
This planet sucks. It is a shithole, whatever Mando said.
Just going out to the bar with your friends for some brews and mulligatawny.
Yeah, their special here is a Guinness and a pasta visual.
Mando and Cara Dune evoke the wrath of the Klaatuinians. Another very well choreographed action sequence. I really liked this one a lot better than the first one of the Mando Cara Dune fight. I don't really have a lot to say about it, I guess. Good fight
I
scene.
agree because it's hard to just say things that you like and say like, oh, I liked how they did this and then that. It was a good action sequence. All of the action in this episode was very good. I like the dynamic of adding those. There wasn't a thermal detonator, but whatever the bombs were, and then trying to get out, but having the Klaatoonians keep coming in and having them to keep fight, and they're like really. That was a good way to kind of raise the stakes and make you feel like a little bit of pressure. Like, ooh, it's beeping faster, faster. Get out, get out, get out, get out. So I like that a lot. Yeah, they did that really well.
And my favorite thing, well, it's something that I love seeing in Star Wars, is just that little bit of world building where they go in this tent and there's some blue ooze and it's hot.
What is it?
Who knows?
What are they
Doesn't
doing?
matter. Dump that guy's head in it.
Yep.
Fuck him. Good fight scene, and then they chase the ATST back, or the ATST chases them back. I meant to say, and maybe this is why I like this episode so much, because the idea of an ATST is excellent. What we get in the original trilogy is not. The terror of an ATST is not properly evoked when we see the Ewoks crushing them with logs. In this episode, the terror is there. The red eyes help, obviously. My little lizard brain, red eyes bad, and that looked
No,
sick.
it's true though.
They could have very likely gone the strictly practical effects way, because that's how George did it and that's what they love to do. But the digital effects with the ATST worked so well, and you see it crushing down trees and stuff. Every I absolutely love the ATST. Maybe that's why I like this episode so much. Because I've always liked the ATST, like, in theory, in the original trilogy, and the video games do it well. But we've never seen it on screen look so badass. I loved that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, those close-up shots looking up kind of help give it the scale to be like an intimidating monster, like you feel like you're watching a Godzilla movie or something instead of a Star Wars. So it was done very well.
And then the final fight, Cara Dune bravely takes Mando's pulse rifle, which I thought was a cool scene of their a very efficient way to show that the trust and camaraderie that these two have, that he would not give away his pulse rifle to just anybody. And I was surprised to see that on this watch through, but it makes sense, consistent with the story and the characters. And then
he's
she
Mandalorian. Weapons are part of his religion. He's sharing his culture with this woman.
Yes. And it works, and I loved it. And then she properly baits the ATST forward. Their plan works. There was again, action sequence when done well is not very easy to talk about, but there was just the right amount of tension and the plan going wrong and making the plan go right. I really liked this whole climax.
Even though I will say the plan to just dig a moat for it to step in seems pretty intuitive. Like
something they could have thought about on their own.
Yeah, I'm not trying to discredit these farmers. Like, I certainly understand wanting to bring in a hired gun, but certainly they could have thought of this idea at some point on their own. It wouldn't have stopped the Clatoonian raiders, so that's fair.
And it wouldn't have stopped the ATST because it stopped before the moat. They needed some brave soul to go up and bait it forward a little bit more.
I guess in hindsight, but...
All right, and then the sun rises, and we see Grogu eat the frog. And that's why all the Grogu toys come with a frog. I've been waiting for this scene. I guess I don't know if you guys have that exact toy as well, but I knew he eats a lot of frogs somewhere.
Yeah, I feel like that's very relevant in the iconography of Grogu. Like every sticker with his head on it usually has the frog legs sticking out of his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Surely this isn't the only time we see that, though, right? I feel like this becomes like a running gag throughout the show.
I hope so. I don't remember. I don't watch the show as often as I should. And then we get that sequence of the Gurindin. That's not his name. That's not the species. That's his name. The penis face man that tracks Han Solo on Mos Eisley. That assassin tries to kill Grogu, and I know beyond the shadow of a doubt that Grogu's not going to die. But even just the image of him in the crosshairs of a sniper rifle made me gasp. That
Yes.
You can't kill Grogu. Grogu is such a great part of this show. I knew I liked this show, and I knew Grogu was a big part of why. He is everything to this show. Every single scene that has him, and especially because I watched season 3 most recently, and there's no plot relevance to him in that season. So all of the shots, or I guess I don't want to disparage it, but the way I remember Grogu in season 3 is he's just there along for the ride to be cute, and it works for that. But he is the story of this season, and it is so good. Every scene with him is so tense, and he's just so clueless, but also kind of knows what's going on, and so cute, and just wants to live. I don't know. I really liked this episode. I was bummed to hear that you guys it didn't hit as hard for you guys.
As hard. The moments that hit do hit. I mean, you can't put an ATST in a episode and not be memorable, right? Like when I think about this episode, I think of, oh yeah, this is the ATST episode, but also it's the intro of Cara Dune as well. So like there is quite a bit of highlighted moments. Like some of the other ones get lost and be like, what episode is that? But like this episode of The Sanctuary does stand out when you're thinking of season 1. I think because of those big moments.
It's definitely distinct. And I also really like the farming village. I get why you wouldn't as much, but I liked it. Max, any final thoughts on episode 4, the Sanctuary?
No. I like I said, it was fine. I've been making a lot of jokes this episode, but the action was fantastic for a Monster of the Week story. A self-contained 30-minute episode. It was a lot of fun. Little, camp here and there. But overall, I liked it. I would probably say that I don't know. I'm trying to see if this is my least favorite episode or not. I would say this is probably my least favorite of the three. It's really just the second episode that I'm debating between. But again, not because either of them are bad.
At the end of the season, we can do a ranking of all 8 episodes because I am interested in that.
All right, good.
Me too.
'Cause I want more time to think about it too, with all the other episodes in mind.
Same.
And my last note that I forgot to bring up before because it was in Soup Shop, we see a Loth cat in live action, which is exciting. We've seen plenty since, so it's not as exciting now, but that was the first time we saw it, and that was cool. And it growled at Grogu, and I wanted Mando to just stomp on that guy's head. And don't ever growl at Grogu. Who the hell do you think you are, Loth cat? All right, that brings us to the end of our discussion on Season 1, Episode 4. Does anyone have any force for thought to leave us with? I do. I was watching Season 1, Episode 4 of The Mandalorian, The Sanctuary, and a thought occurred to me that I saved until this point because it's not really worth discussing. It was just, it's more of a force for thought. But several times, characters jump into the water to hide from blasters and fire. Is there a concern in a small body of water, or even a large one, if you shoot a lot of laser fire into it, that it will boil the water and you'll burn and melt to death? Because these blasters are heat-based, and they're hot as fuck, I assume. I don't know what the canon answer to this is, but at the end, Cara Dune's in there, and the ATST is blasting, like the big blasts in there. And I don't know if this is visually supposed to be that, but there's also a lot of either mist or fog. I think it's more fog / steam, because it is heating up the water a lot, which, one, is a cool detail either way, whether it's mist, steam, or fog. But also, just intuitively, yeah, I think this water is starting to get pretty hot. And if they pump it full with enough blaster bolts, I think it would start to get to a hot enough temperature that she would die.
This is such a hard thing to think about because obviously blasters like this is not real at all. I have nothing to compare this to, but for some reason, I am just unreasonably confident that it would not heat up the water.
At all.
Or you would at least need an unreasonable amount of blaster fire into this to heat it up, even just a noticeable amount. I have nothing to back it up. I don't know why. I'm just absolutely confident that's the case.
Because also they always call it like blaster burn, and whenever someone gets shot, it looks
kills that guy. He had a huge like scorch coming from his back, like it was
it
like
burns.
tons of smoke coming off. So yeah, it absolutely burns. And when people get it cauterizes wounds too. It's like self-cauterizing when people get shot. So I know that there is a heat aspect to it, but for some reason, I just think if you just take a blaster and shoot water, that it wouldn't heat it up. I do think that it makes the blast, like if it's like mostly like a beam of heat, that it like dissipates immediately. So I think water is actually a probably pretty good protector from
bolts,
blaster fire.
Max, I have the same exact theory for some reason. There's no weight to it, but for some reason I agree. I feel like if you shot into the water, it would almost dissipate quicker versus cutting through. But also, the hot tub industry would be crazy in the Star Wars universe. People would just be shooting pools left and right to heat that motherfucker up.
I'm gonna go ahead and commit to my original stance that it does heat up, and this is
You should. I want someone to, but I for some reason I'm not there.
It's all heat. There's no kinetic, there's no object that they're firing with these blasters. They're just shooting straight heat.
I'm trying to think too much about the physics of something that doesn't exist. Is there no object associated with it? Because when people get hit, they get launched sometimes. So it's like there has to be something. There has to be a force that's actually moving them.
Yeah.
It's not just a ray of heat.
true. Would that
But
be?
I also think that if you were to shoot the water, it would just instantly go away.
Water is also a very famous conductor. It transfers heat very efficiently. Doesn't water get hot if you like shot a gun with a bullet into a cup of water? Wouldn't it get hot?
I don't think that would affect it. I think it would just go straight through.
All right, well, I'm not going to die on that hill, but I kind of think that's true.
I've never heard that before, that it would get hot, but I don't know.
Max, you muted yourself, it seems like.
Oh no.
Or at least you're not coming in on Discord anymore.
I don't know why that is.
That's our show.
There it is. There it is. No.
Okay. Let's wrap up quick, because I don't know what's going on.
All right, well, thanks for listening, everybody. Next week, episode 5, the one with Toro Calican, I think. We'll see you then.
See you, Sammy. See you, Debo Samuel.